all the way in Switzerland. And tuning to the Black Fire Radio. And you're listening to the African Diary Show with Cathy. That's it.
Baby, you should know that I'm your one. Like if you can't wish you, then I would rather rain. So I don't want to hear about quality, they should know
That's your mind. That's your mind. That's your mind.
And I ain't never letting you go.
Baby, you should know that you're my life.
Like if you can't wish you, then I'll be by your side. So I don't want to hear about quality, they should know you're
My one.
That's your mind. And I ain't never letting you go. You baby, right? You got me up in my mind. And I don't wanna say, I don't wanna die if you let me inside. So let it be the same. Let it be me and you this game. You baby, right? You got me up
in my mind. In everywhere, where. I take it down, where. Nitakupenda where. Nitakupenda where. In every single way. Atakija shida wewe. You should know that you
in every single way I'm
right on time. And I think we should well. And for us,
baby, you
should know that you make me shine.
In many little ways you make me smile. Now they figure me so bad, don't talk one away. And for better
and for us,
I will always be yours. You baby, right? You got me up in my mind. And I don't wanna say, but I don't wanna die if you let me aside. So let it be the same. Let it be me and you in this game. You baby, where?
You got me up in my mind. In everywhere, where. I take it down, where. Nitakupenda where. Nitakupenda where. Nitakupenda where.
The Black Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with Cathy. That's it. Greetings.
Atakija shida wewe, nitakupenda wewe. Welcome my people, karibuni tena sana to another episode of the African Diary Show. I hope you're well. I hope all is well with you, and I hope you're doing great on today's amazing Tuesday morning on your end, but it is afternoon, or rather evening on my end. It is 8 minutes past 3 p.m. And when does the afternoon, when does the evening start? I don't know, but anyway, it is 8 minutes past 3 p.m. right here in Nairobi. You can get to interact with me as well, and do let me know how you're doing today, and do let me know what is the time on your end, how is the weather on your side, and also do let me know how are you feeling on today's day. I see Anne Sankenon, you're saying good morning, Katie. In my best Jamaican accent, George would be so proud of me. Oh my god. I miss George. How is George? But I see Ansan Kenon, you're saying what going, nothing going, Mr. Ansan Kenon. How are you doing today? Karibu sana, thank you for joining me. To everybody who is there with me, to everybody who just tuned in on the radio station, to everybody tuning in on Rambo, and to everybody who is there with me on Facebook, YouTube, and everybody who is just listening to me. Karibuni sana. I hope your day is coming along great, and I hope it is finding you at great health and peace as well. Karibuni once again to this amazing episode of the African Diary Show. And to everybody who is joining us for the first time on the African Diary Show, is a show where we get to discuss everything concerning Africans, what is happening on the entire African continent, or rather in the beautiful countries of Africa. So on today's episode, we shall be discussing a lot. We shall be heading to Sudan. We shall be heading to many African countries. Actually, we shall be talking about all African countries and be wondering, why is it only 2 countries in Africa that do not import oil? I found out that only 2 African countries are that do not import oil. Why is this? We have more than 20 countries mining oil, or rather that owns oil, that has oil in its ground, but only 2 of them, only 2 out of 54 countries in Africa do not import oil. We shall be getting to that discussion later as we carry on with our day, and also as you get to let me know why you think that now we only have 2 African countries that do not import oil. Kindly get to interact with me. Do remember, we are live and interactive on our media handles. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere at Blackout Fire Network. Keep it interactive with me. Do let me know how you're doing today. Do let me know how you feel about our topic today, and also kindly get to interact with me about the conversations we're going to have right here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are well like me. I hope you feel good like me, and also I hope you look good like me today. Anyway, we shall get back to one more jam. We will be back with our quote of the day, and also to everybody who has a quote of the day that they feel like we need to hear this, please make sure you keep it coming. Please make sure you share it on please make sure you share it on the chat room, and also do let us know what is this quote of the day you have for us. We started off the show with an amazing jam done by Ivia, and the jam was Nitakupenda. I hope you did get to jam onto it as we start with our show for today, but we're going back to one more jam. This is still Ivia, and the jam is a blessing, or rather Watoto wa Kiafrika. And Watoto wa Kiafrika simply means Africans children, or rather Africa's children, and he's talking about how beautiful they are and how lovely they are, or rather how Mother Africa has beautiful children and beautiful girls out here. So get to enjoy this amazing jam, but don't forget to come back with a quote of the day for us. Africa, Umbika, Africa. Lots of My African proverb of the day says, examine what is said, not who is speaking. Examine what is said, not who is speaking. And it clearly makes sense. Observe what is said, not who is speaking. Even people with maybe a higher age, or rather people who are elder than us, they might be talking but a lot of trash. But at the end of the day, you'll find that now younger people have a lot of sensible things to say. So observe who is speaking. Sorry, observe what is said and not who is speaking. Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying, or rather, I hope you have jumped onto that amazing jam. It is called Watoto wa Kiafrika, or rather, Blessing. I hope.
Robinson, all the way in Switzerland, and you're tuning into the Black House Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with Cathy. That's it.
Yes, welcome back. I hope you did get to jump onto that amazing banger over there done by Ibia. I see Ansan Canon is already joking with me right here. He's saying 55 countries we've added Katie Land. It is okay. We have 55 countries, Katie Land included. But I see Ansankenwan is saying, if you want to know the end, look at the beginning. African proverb. Yes, that is a good African proverb. You're saying, if you want to know the end, look at the beginning. Very true, because also how you start something matters a lot. How you continue with something matters a lot, but the start matters a lot. And on this fateful morning, we woke up to some news about youths right here in the 254 going to demonstrate, or rather demonstrating in the 254. And this is a different this is not in Nairobi, but it is a different city in Kenya that we woke up to youths demonstrating, and what they were saying, it is a lack of employment right here in the 254. And I feel we talked about this on the Vibe Show, and I feel like, yes, this is very true. When we come now to employment in the African countries, not only in the 254, not only in the 255, not only in the 256, in all African countries, we are lacking employment, especially for the youth. Not only for the youth, especially for those people who are going to school, studying hard, working very hard, thinking that now get a job opportunity. But enough is that now when they are done with the studies, they are not able to secure a job. And I feel very sad for them, because one, you have high hopes of I'm studying for me to secure a job, but unfortunately, in the states where we are, we don't have those opportunities. Or rather, we were talking about why now we kept on asking ourselves, and I gave a chance to our listeners to answer the question of why, or why do we find that now most students, when they go to school, they do a certain course, but when they get out here, they don't get to work in the sectors they studied in. And so many people told me that you might be going to school to please your parents, you might be going to school because you might be going to school, or rather you have gone to school, you've studied, you've gotten that degree, you've gotten that certificate, but at the end of the day, there's no employment in the country. And this is very true. I've seen where, like, even we have memes going around, unasoma ukidhani utapata kazi. It is not something that is funny, but it is happening right here. I've seen so many students stomaching with their certificates. Actually, we had one last week burning his certificates down. He has a degree, he has so many certificates, and he had to burn them down because at the end of the day, they are not helping him in any way. And this is a fact. I've seen where students study very hard. They study, they get good grades, they get that degree. But now when it comes to getting a job, or rather when it comes to securing a job, it becomes very hard for them. And why is this? I think it is because we are in countries that we have normalized corruption. When you go to apply maybe for this job employment, or rather you go to seek for this employment, you go there, they ask for maybe 15 years of experience. How am I supposed to have 15 years of experience while I was straight out from the school? How am I getting this 15 years experience when I was just from the school? And this is hindering so many youths to get to the worker sectors they studied in. Or rather, you find that now I am a doctor, I have gone to school, I've studied medicine, and I come out here, I've been tamacking to find now the work that I really wanted. But at the end of the day, I come back becoming a farmer, I come back as a maybe a teacher, I come back as a radio host, I come back as a musician, because there's no employment right here. We've seen so many people going to school. We have so many lawyers out here, especially in this area that we are in. We have so many lawyers that are qualified. Actually, we have advocates of the highest court, but they don't have jobs. Why is this? Because when you go to apply for work, you're told come with the 5 years experience. How am I going to get that 5 years experience if you're not going to give me that job? It doesn't make sense to me, because at the end of the day, you're asking me to get 5 years experience, and you're not giving me that opportunity to get the 5 years experience. Where am I getting the 5 years experience? And those youths were very bitter. They were very they were very sad, and you could see the sadness in their faces when they were on the roads protesting and demonstrating about now lack of employment in the country. And I feel like this is not only in Kenya, it is happening in every African country. And this is why we have high crime rates, because the more the people are idle, the higher the crime rate goes high, because an idle mind is a devil's workshop. We all know that. So what is happening is that, I don't know, we need to create more employment for our people. Even if it is you, employ as many people as you could, but remember to pay them. I'm not telling you to employ people for you to exploit them. Remember to pay them. But I believe we have so many people who are able to employ people, who are able to employ the youth. If you have a chance to employ a youth, don't ask them for experience, because you are the one supposed to give them this experience. If they don't know, please make sure you teach them, because at the end of the day, it is not safe out here. It is not good out here. The sun is very hot. Imagine you tamacking with your papers. Imagine you tamacking with your degrees, and you end up without no job. It is very sad, especially right now. We have now students who have studied very hard, who have worked very hard, with no fruits of their studies. It is very sad. I feel the pain of those students, because myself, I never went to college, I never went to university, but I feel the pain of those students, because imagine you wasted now your 5 years. You went to school, you wasted your 5 years learning, then you come back to the community. There is no job, there is no money, there is no food. Like, we are raising a generation of frustrated youngins. Imagine when you go to look for work, they ask you for experience. Where are you going to get the experience if they don't give you the job? It is very sad, and I feel very sad for the youths. I feel like I've seen this, and also somebody said early in the morning on the Vibe Show, somebody told me that 98.9% of people went to school, studied, did whatever course they did, but now when they came out here, they are not working on the course they studied for. And I asked him, what do you think is the reason? He told me that you might be going to that office to look for employment, and at the end of the day, you find that whatever you studied there has no market. So they tell you, instead of this, we can offer you this job. You can become a cleaner in our offices. You can become maybe a secretary in our offices. And right now, it is not a time to choose jobs. You just take it because you have bills to pay. There are bills to be paid. You need money at the end of the day. You need food to survive. So if you're told become a cleaner in this industry and you don't have money, I'm going for that job anytime, any day. Become a secretary, I'm going for it. No matter what I had studied for, I'm going to become a cleaner in your office. Imagine. And it is very sad. Imagine I saw some man who has a degree, a whole degree. He passed with an A class. He has done even PhD, but he's a watchman. He is a security guard. He's guarding people while they are sleeping. Can you imagine how sad this is? It's like he wasted his 5 years in school. Then he ends up to become a security guard just because of we have normalized a country of corruption. We are growing in a country of corruption. It is rather unfortunate and also very sad, but I feel like now, if we are able to create employment for our people, let us do this. Let us do this, because at the end of the day, it is now ourselves to help each other. We only got ourselves. This government has shown us it clearly doesn't care about us. They came up with this fund. What was it called? The Hustler Fund. How has it helped? It has not helped in any way. Remember, we have so many people who took the Hustler Fund. Right now, they are not able to pay the Hustler Fund. I don't know. I've never even. We only had about the Hustler Fund. Few weeks after it was launched, and right now nobody talks about the Hustler Fund, so it might not even be working. So many people took the loan and they were not able to pay, they were unable to pay. So I feel like that was not even supposed to help any citizen. And remember, at the end of the day, you have a debt. And remember, these students go to school, they are given loans, they are given educational loans by the government. And now when you're employed, or rather when you get to a certain age, the government requires you to pay them back. Where will you pay them back, or what will you pay them back with if you don't have a job? It is tricky, very sad, but at the end of the day, I told you, it is us for ourselves. We need to help each other wherever we can. If you can be able to employ 2 people, please make sure you do. If you can be able to help 2 brothers, 2 sisters, please make sure you do, because at the end of the day, we need each other. We need each other. We highly need each other. But I see Unsung is Sorry, I see Kid in the building. You're saying good afternoon, Katie. Good after sell it. The European or Chinese refine it and sell it back to African countries. That is the reason, of the biggest reasons we import. Sorry, we import oil from other continents, or rather from other countries outside Africa. Let's see. Also, Ansan Canon is saying, no matter how hot your anger is, it cannot cook yams. Yes, that is a Nigerian proverb. I know that proverb. It is a funny one, but I know it. It is it is one worth laughing about. But anyway, no matter how your anger is, or rather, no matter how hot your anger is, it cannot boil yams. And second one, I see you're saying they want you to volunteer for 15 years. Do not mind your hunger pangs. How am I going to volunteer for 15 years, honestly? You know how tricky it is even to get internship in these places. It has become very hard for you even to get internship. I've seen situations where even students are paying for them to get internship in some companies. Imagine. You're not being paid. You just wake up and go and work your ass off. And at the end of the day, you're the one paying for you to be there. Imagine you're paying for an internship. Very hard times in Africa. But I told you, the only thing we get to do is support each other where we can. We can only support each other wherever we can. But yesterday I talked about Mali, and it was about the referendum. And right now I've seen local observers reacting to the referendum vote, and that as Malians awaited the results of Sunday's referendum on a new constitution, the chairman of the Modele Mali Observation Mission gave Monday, June, an overview of the voting process. The disenfranchisement of voters living in the northern region of Kidal, which is controlled by former rebels, is highly contested by former rebels, and rebels is highly contested. Modele Mali says its observers witnessed no vote there. Imagine nobody woke up and went to vote. And I feel like, yes, this might even happen to other African countries. No, not even about the referendum, even the elections, because the moment you get to realize that your vote doesn't count, that your vote won't make a change, why do you waste your time and wake up? Why do you waste your sleep and wake up very early and queue for you to go and vote for something that will never make a change for you? But I see there was there was no vote in Kidal, that is nor in Tesalid, nor in Agegolk, nor in Ashiboko, nor in Tenesako. There was no vote. Dr. Ibrahima Sango said, because we have 150 observers who are trained in Kidal and who are deployed in Kidal, we have not had any vote in Kidal. A contradictory report from the strategic region of Kidal. Another observer group, the Coalition pour Eye Observation Citoyen des Elections, AU Mali, reported that none of its observers had noted the opening of voting centers and polling stations in the Kidal region. And a document authenticated from the regional branch of the authority in charge of elections in Kidal also states that the referendum could not be held throughout the region. A document authenticated, the president of the AIGE at national level, Mustafa SM Sise, rejected these assertions, maintaining in a press release that the vote had indeed taken place in Kidal region. So it clearly shows that now the election of these people, the casting of the votes was not fair. Because how comes we have people saying we witnessed people voting, we never saw the polling stations opened, and we have others saying that people didn't turn out? It shows that there's some contradictment there, and they are just contradicting themselves. But he denounced the dissemination of false documents and information relayed by individuals with no standing to speak on behalf of the body, whether or not the vote would be held in Kidal, a stronghold armed groups that fought the Central States before signing a fragile peace agreement with it in 2015, was being closely scrutinized. The former rebel controlling the region have long been in discord with the military junta ruling and opposed to the draft constitution. It is rather crazy there. We're just waiting because I've heard that the results are not yet announced. So we were waiting for the results to be announced today. But yesterday, remember what I told you guys. No matter what the results are, this is not going to be a democratic civil government. The government is not going to be democratic civilian government, because at the end of the day, remember, we as Kenyans, we call ourselves democratic. Are we democratic? No. We have so many African countries saying that we are a democratic nation, but are they democratic? No. So no matter what the results are for the referendum, I feel like yes, it might be yes, but at the end of the day, the government will not return to civilian rule. I told you that these people, they will return to what they claim it is civilian rule. They might be returning to civilian rule, but at the end of the day, this is a dictatorship civilian government. It is not a democratic civilian ruled government, because at the end of the day, what is a civilian ruled government? Democratic civilian ruled government, it is where every citizen has a say on everything that is happening. Every civilian has a right to say no to this, yes to this. But what have we seen in Africa? It is leaders leading with their chest, leaders telling us, today I want this to be done, and this happens. Today I want this to be done. Today the price of fuel is going high, and the price of fuel goes high because the president has said. So at the end of the day, I don't feel like anything is going to change the state of the country, or rather of the governorship in the country, because at the end of the day, it is a whole narrative of us being controlled. The Malians said no to the French, but they okayed the Ukrainians to come and now control them. So there's no change we are going to witness in that country. But we're just chilling and waiting to see what will happen in that country. We're just waiting for the results of the referendum. But remember, they will not positively impact the Malians, or rather the country. But let's just be cool, let's just wait, and also let's get to hope on the positive, because at the end of the day, what we do now is we live by hope and faith that we will wake up and have a better Africa. But moving on to other news and updates, this is in Senegal, and I've seen that Senegal has threatened media freedom, and this is the Senegalese government. And recent riots in Senegal have caused the government to crack down on the country's media, with journalists left struggling in the face of violence and threats. And the WAF TV has been left in limbo in recent weeks since it was suspended for 30 days on June 1st. The private channel is a fierce critic of the Senegalese government, which has blamed them for broadcasting violent images, involving minors, accompanied by subversive and hateful comments that undermine the stability of the state during the recent riots. But what do we call freedom? That is not freedom. We actually don't have freedom, and this is why we talk about democracy, and I keep on telling you we're living in dictatorship rather than democracy. What they keep on saying that we're democratic states. No, we're not democratic states. We're dictatorship, or rather we're just being dictated every time. You're being told, go there, eat this. If the media can't bring out the truth. If the media can't talk what they want to talk about, what is freedom? Why now do we claim ourselves free? Why do we claim ourselves free? Because this is freedom of speech, of which now the media is being denied from. But every time there is a tension in the country, the political authorities blame Walfadjir, says Mustafa Diop, director of Wolf TV and radio, because when there are violent demonstrations in Senegal, we are doing local news, we are going general news. If there are events like that, I don't see why Walfadjir should say that we are not doing a special edition, that we are not doing a live broadcast. And I feel like, yes, the work of the media is to give you raw information, non-edited information, just like we do right here on the Blackout Fire Network. Because, you know, we've seen what the mainstream media does. They always edit their information. They are told what to talk about, what not to talk about. And unlike here on the Blackout Fire Network, we know we can talk about everything. And the moment now they discover we are telling people the truth, we're talking about everything. This is why we get strikes on our channels. This is why they keep on taking down our channels, because they want to restrict people from talking the truth. They want to restrict people from giving the raw information as it is. If there is a war on the ground, why don't I come and tell you there's a people fighting outside there? You know, for me, it doesn't make sense. Why are you telling me that I cannot come and report about people fighting? And it is happening. It is what is happening. Why should I come and tell you that now we have people fighting, but I cannot tell you where, or rather, I will not talk about people fighting while we have people fighting? You know, it doesn't make sense for me. It's just a controlled media, and this is now how you get to know. These people are just controlling you. These people just want to control you. Everything, about everything you say, everything you do, they just want to control you on any way or in any way. They just here to control you. They just want to control you on what you say, what you eat, where you go, and that is not freedom. That is not freedom. So the Senegalese government has banned a radio station and also a media house, that is a television, and told them that now you cannot continue with your live broadcast because you're bringing violence to the country. But these people are not inciting violence. If I come and give you information just as it is what is happening. I've not told you go and fight. I'm just bringing the information for you to know what is happening, for you to know which areas you should now abstain from going, which areas you should keep off from, which areas that are safe for you. You know, that is the work of the media. But now the government has actually changed the meaning of the media, the meaning of a radio, the meaning of a TV station. You know, a news TV station, a news radio station, and they just want to control the media just like they like. You know, and also today I woke up to also something still here in the 254, where we have this cabinet secretary saying that yes, we might ban these televisions, we might ban these radio stations and the online content creators because they are it's like they are supporting the opposition, of which I feel like no, we're not doing this. We're just bringing the information just like it is. Remember, when now the media is bringing you information, it is not supposed to be, it is supposed to be neutral. It is not supposed to be one-sided. It is supposed to be neutral. It is supposed to tell you, okay, this party and this party is fighting, and now this party is fighting with this party because of this and this. That is the work of the media. The media is not supposed to fight to side with any party, and our work is just to be neutral and bring the information just as it is. But right here in the 254, we have now these opposition leaders opening their own TV. We have now the ruling government having their own TV. And this is why you find that now there's always violence, because the oppositional TV will be reporting about what the opposition leader wants, will be reporting about how now the ruling party is causing commotions on the opposition side. But no, that is not the work of the media. But right now, the full meaning of the media has been changed, because they all want to control, they all want to have their own medias, they all want to have their TV stations, their radio stations, where everybody is talking about, this person did this, this person, like they are playing blame games on those media channels, of which this is not how it should be. But I see Kid, you saying exactly 100%. Good afternoon to you, to Jiba Jaba. How are you doing today? And I see you saying salute to you, to Jiba Jaba. Kid, you're saying you're not allowed to tell the truth. Very true. They don't want us to speak the truth. They just want us to come and read what they want us to say. They just want us to come and say, this is happening, this is not happening. But at the end of the day, it is crazy. It is crazy, because how can I come and lie about somebody fighting down there while I know these people are fighting and I know why they are fighting? It is crazy. Very crazy. Jiba Jaba is saying 2023 media equals to mouthpiece. Very true. Very, very, very true. But guys, do you know that today is a world, or rather it is a global Refugee Day? Do you know that today is the World Refugee Day? Of course you don't know. Today is the World Refugees Day, and I feel very sad that we have so many Africans that are displaced. We have lost so many lives of Africans that have been traveling and sinking in boats because they are escaping from the African continent. Today is a World Refugees Day, and I'm not happy, and I am not even pleased that we have the World Refugees Day. Also, I'm not happy by the fact that we can call Africans in their own African continent refugees. Maybe you're from Sudan. Right now, we know there's a lot of violence in Sudan. We've seen the Sudanese are now being displaced, going to Egypt, and they are called refugees. Why do we have this? Why do we have Africans being called refugees on their own continent? And what has pushed Africans becoming refugees on other continents? Because I know we have a huge number of Africans who are refugees in other continents. Why do we have this? It is very sad to have Africans running away from their countries. It is very sad to see a black person begging in the streets of New York, begging in the streets of Dubai, begging in the streets of where else? US, Europe, Germany. It is very sad to see these people begging in Asia, African people, black people. It is very sad. Why do we have Africans becoming refugees in other continents? Because one, we've talked about employment. Actually, that was the first thing we discussed. We don't have employment in our countries. We lack employment in our countries. And these people move, or rather run from the African countries in search of greener pastures. But now when they get there, or when they get to wherever they go, they find that now there are no greener pastures. Actually, that is where the pastures are brown. They are dried, like they are dried. So I think it doesn't make sense for me to see that we have people who we call refugees right here in Kenya, and they are black like me. It doesn't make sense to see that now the displaced Sudanese people are being called refugees in their own continent. It doesn't make sense for me to see that the Somali people coming to Kenya are being called refugees, and we have this big refugees camp called, we have this the Dadaab camp. We have so many camps in Africa where we have now people, black people, being called refugees in their own continent. I don't know who came up with this refugees day, where we get to celebrate people, or rather refugees, but for me it doesn't settle right with me that we have refugees even in our own countries. We have black people calling themselves a refugee, or rather we're calling themselves refugee. Remember, there was this time I did a show of African people saying that we are being denied even the right to own property in Kenya because we come from Zambia, because we are being called refugees. We came from Zambia, and these are people who have settled here for more than 20 years. I believe you can become a Kenyan citizen by birth. We have by birth, by okay. We have so many. Let me just find out. We have so many ways of Kenyan citizen, but they were not raised here, but they came here when they were like 20 years ago. And I believe those okay, you can become a Kenyan citizen by birth registration. And now when you talk about registration, it is where you have stayed for, in the country for more than maybe 10 years. For more than 10 years, you have a right to become a Kenyan citizen. But now we have these people we have the government denying them the right to become Kenyan citizen. They have settled for more than 20 years, and still they are denied a right even to own property. I went to school with the Zambians. I've seen themselves, or rather I've seen now my classmates repeating classes every time when we get to the last grade. And why is this? Because they don't have their birth certificates, and the government says they are not Kenyans. How am I not Kenyan? How am I not even African in my own continent? You know, these people, they can never go far because the government also is pushing them away. We have so many people who are displaced from their places, but when they come now to other African countries, they keep on now facing tribalism, keep on facing hate, stigmatization by the fact that, or rather by the name, in the name, they are not Kenyan citizens. In the name, they are not the citizen of this country, you know. And it is very, very, very sad. But I see a kid, you're saying you have the right to support whoever you want, and you want to, and the media is naturally unfair, but they want to control the narrative, Katie. Very true. And also I see you're saying exactly 100%, Katie. You're not a refugee in Africa. You should not be a refugee in Africa. As long as you're a black person, you're not a refugee in Africa. But I see Jiba Jaba, you're also saying, why aren't they called asylum seekers or migrants like the other South and the US border? The US border. Oh, wait, they are black. That's why they're not black. We had people coming from the UK being sent to Rwanda. Those people they were not black. These people are white, but they are called asylum seekers. But now when it comes to the black people, we're refugees. Even in our own countries, we're refugees. But when it comes to them, they are asylum seekers. Imagine, they are asylum seekers, but the black people, you're refugees. Kid, I see you're saying because of tribalism, Katie, you are a refugee in Africa. Yes, I feel like it is because of tribalism, also not because of tribalism really that much. It is because of the borders and these fake IDs they gave to us. You know, I believe an ID is supposed to only have your name. Not all that nonsense of where you were born, which country you belong to. which continent, or rather which county, which sub-county, which district, it is crazy, which location, sub-location. But I see Jiba Jaba is saying today is African Refugee Day. Earlier, it was the day of the African child. It is all UN. Yes, it is all UN. It is all UN. And they'd say we're trying to unite Africans. We're trying to celebrate refugees in Africa. What are you celebrating? Are you celebrating people living in camps, going through hardship? Is that what you're celebrating? Is that what you're embracing? Is that what you're encouraging? Should I be happy to be living in a refugee camp with no water, with no food, with my children not going to school? It doesn't make sense. Kitty saying, remember, Katie, these countries were created by the Europeans. Very true. Very true. Ajiba Jaba, you're saying, what? Mzungu asylum seekers. That's messed up. Yes. Remember, we had people coming from the UK to Rwanda. What were they being called? We were calling them asylum seekers. But when it comes to black people, you're a refugee. You are a refugee and you'll be sent to a refugee camp. But let me get to read this article before we get to the main focus of the day. And also we get to close up, or rather we get to wind up with our show for today. So by the end of 2022, the number of refugees globally is at 34.3 million. An increase of more than 8 million from the year before, according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. More than half, that is 52% of all refugees, came from just 3 countries. We have Syria, we have Ukraine, we have Afghanistan. Under the international law, refugees are people who are forced to flee their home countries to escape persecution or a serious threat to their life, physical integrity or freedom. To raise awareness about the situation of refugees worldwide, the UN designated June 20th each year as World Refugee Day. What are you celebrating? What is World Refugee Day? Should people celebrate being in those camps? Should people celebrate eating porridge? Because in refugee camps, people eat porridge. No food, you just eat porridge with the GMO food, because they bring you the GMO meals. They bring you the GMO maize. You either eat githeri. Githeri is a mixture of beans and maize, or they bring you the yellow flour that you cook porridge with. That is GMO. What should I be celebrating there? It is World Refugee Day. What is there to celebrate? Me being a refugee? Oh no, that's fucked up then. Because if I'm supposed to be celebrating being a refugee, it is fucked up. It is not funny. Not funny at all. Not funny. How is it funny people living in camps? How is it funny people not getting health attention? How is it even funny, or rather, how is it fun? People living under poor conditions, in cold, outside. Where is the fun part there? Of course, there is no fun part there, but they want it to make, they want you, or rather, they want it to make, they want it to look like now you should appreciate wherever you are. You should appreciate wherever you're living. You should appreciate the gift of life. Of course you should, but not living in camps. Of course you should celebrate the gifts of life, but not waking up to poor conditions, poor environment, tough conditions, cold, sleeping outside. No. I don't know why we celebrate Refugee Day, but I feel like we should be working hard to end these refugee camps and everybody gets a home in Africa. Nobody deserves to become a refugee in Africa. These black people, they belong to Africa. Nobody deserves to be called a refugee in their own continent. That is what I believe. But since we have the World Refugee Day, it is just crazy. It just doesn't settle right with me. I remember I saw the displaced during the 2007. I was very young, but I was 6 years old, but I remember it all. I was in class 2. I saw class 1, class 2. I saw so many people being displaced, and we had so many people being displaced, being coming to our schools, and they were suffering. We have to donate clothes for them. We have to donate food for them. And today we are celebrating World Refugee Day. Those people would sleep without food. Those people would sleep outside in cold. And we're celebrating World Refugee Day. Very crazy. It is very crazy. I just hate the fact that we as Africans make it even hard for Africans to come and settle in their own African continent, in their own homeland. Why do we make it hard while we're making it very easy for the Mzungus? We have the Chinese in our countries. We have the Europeans in our countries, but we make it very simple for them to come and settle to our countries. But when it comes to your fellow African, you make it very hard. I saw in Ghana people burning people's houses. Now the US people, the African American people coming to Ghana, building their houses and starting a life there. Then we have the Ghanaians burning their houses up just because they feel like these people don't belong here. These people are not raised in Africa, so they don't belong to Africa. And yet, a Mzungu would come, settle on the same place, and you accept them. Why is this? Why do we have refugees in Africa while we have the Mzungu living very comfortably in Africa? Why is this? Why do we accept that we can have the Mzungus, we can tolerate the Mzungus, but when it comes to our African brothers and sisters, we can let them sleep outside. We can let them sleep empty stomachs. We can let them stay in refugee camps. Why is this? We're full of stupidity, I think. Because we've learned to hate our own and now love the enemy. And this is why they always take advantage of us. And this is why they will always oppress us, because we worship them they will always take advantage of us. We oppress our own people and then we love them. We embrace them Zungus. We can tolerate seeing, or rather, we can just watch our African people suffering. But when it comes to Mzungu, we're very welcoming, embracing them, giving them warm welcomes and warm hugs. I'm just tired with Africans. Today, we're celebrating a World Refugee Day. We have people in Africa, black people in Africa, sleeping in refugee camps because they are refugees in their own continent. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Why? Why would you hate your own people and love the enemy? Why? Man, it doesn't settle right with me that we have people sleeping in those camps. We have people sleeping in the streets. But when it comes to the Mzungus, we can even give them our beds and we sleep on the floors. African people, we need to do better. We need to love ourselves. We need to put ourselves first. We need to love each other. How do you endure the pain of seeing your fellow brother and sister suffering, yet you cannot endure a Mzungu suffering? You cannot even watch a mzungu suffering because you worship them, because you feel like being white is the best thing. It is just crazy. I just hate that. Very sad. Before I even get angry, more angry, can we get to the main focus of the day? Yes, and my voice is even going. But the main focus of the day is it is about only 2 African countries do not import oil. The same thing. We have more than 20 African countries with the oil on their lands, on their grounds, but only 2 African countries that do not import oil. Why is this? Because we have enabled the Chinese to come here, we have enabled the Europeans to come here and mine our oil, refine our oil, and they come and resell it to us. We give it to them for free. Man, this is just crazy. The self-hate is too much. The self-hate is too much. Why do we hate ourselves this much? I don't understand. It is just crazy. But we have 54 countries in Africa. More than 20 countries produce oil. And 5 of these countries are part of the world's 30th oil producing country. However, only 2 countries in Africa do not import oil. In 2019, Africa accounted more than 7.9 million barrels per day, which is about 9.6% of global output. Between 2005 and 2010, however, oil production in Africa rose to nearly 10 million barrels per day. Speaking today at the opening, we have this. It was yesterday. Today is on 20th. This was the day before yesterday. That was on yesterday was on Monday, so it was on Sunday. We had the opening of the 30th anniversary of the Afrobeats Bank annual meetings in Accra, Ghana, and the businessman Aliko Dangote. You all know Dangote is one of the richest men we have in Africa. Pointed out that even though there are oil producing countries in the continent, only 2 countries, that is Algeria and Libya, do not import their oil. Dangote, who was speaking about the importance of free movement and intra-Africa trade, said we are importing poverty and exporting jobs. Very true. He said that in relation to the fact that African countries continue to export raw materials, it is very sad. We export raw materials. We import poverty. Dangote was speaking about the importance of free movement. Okay, I read that. Okay, he said we are importing poverty and exporting jobs. He said that in relation to the fact that African countries continue to export raw materials, he also expressed concern about the difficulty in traveling around the continent. He said that he has the African passport and should be able to travel around around there. But there are 2 countries that for some reasons do not recognize the African passport. This is in Africa. We have 2 African countries that do not recognize African passports. They have even put boundaries of us to travel to a point that you require an African passport. And now the moment you have the African passport, we have now 2 countries saying no to the African passport. According to Dangote, Nigeria produces about 6 million tons of urea, and therefore Africa should not be seeking to import fertilizers from outside the continent. Very true. Dangote shared his experience on how his company started producing cement for local consumption and export, as well as opening factories in other countries, and urged the establishment of the local domestic banks that would invest in business on the continent. In his welcome address, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, gave tribute to the Afrimix Bank. He said since the establishment 3 decades ago, Afrimix Bank has transitioned into first-class supranational financial institution, championing African trade and driving growth across multiple sectors in Africa. Evidence of the bank's intervention are numerous and includes the infrastructural investments to support intra-African trade, investments in agriculture and industry, trade facilitation, trade guarantee, and advisory services, and country-specific programs to support those in dire economic situations, among others, he said. And I feel like this is what we're not doing. We're not supporting our African people. We have not, yes, the what did he call this? He said that the intra-African trade, it is not happening. We've not seen Kenya trading with Tanzania. We've not seen Tanzania trading with Uganda. We've not seen ourselves trading amongst ourselves. Yesterday, we were talking about Kenya signing a trade deal with the European Union. How is this going to benefit us? We're trading with the Europeans, who are our oppressors. These were our colonizers, and you expect them now to be your trade partners. And I keep on saying this. These people can never be your trade partners. They can never be your trade partners. Never a day, not even a single day. Because they are your oppressors. These people, they were your colonizers. How do you expect your colonizers to be your trade partners? How do you expect that? From the word go, since they landed in Africa, they wanted to oppress you. And you believe right now they have changed. They want to work with you. They want to do business with you. How stupid are you? You're just being stupid and being fooled. But it is high time we stop being fooled and raise up and start seeing the reality. How do you expect a person who showed you since day one, I want to become your master, to now to become your trade partner? How do you want your oppressor to become your trade partner? It clearly doesn't make sense for me. Africans, we need to wake up. We need to stop signing these trade deals we think we are signing with them, because they're just coming here to exploit your countries. At the end of the day, they are going to use you, use whatever is in your land, and exploit everything. After they are done, they are even going to chase you from your own land. What will you do? They are going to colonize you the second time if you allow this. What will you do? Nothing. Imagine getting to a second era of colonization. Imagine hearing that Katie was a freedom fighter. Imagine. It is very sad at this age, at this time, in the 21st century, we want to be colonized again. We want to still remain the third world country. It is crazy. We need to wake up and realize what is happening. It is just sad. We keep on signing trade deals. We don't know. I think we know what we're getting ourselves into, because you can't tell me the same Europeans, the same British came here from the word go, from the minute they landed here. They wanted to oppress you. But right now you think they are good people. You can do business with them. You think you can trust them and do business with them. Wake up and stop being stupid. It is high time we start waking up. But let me go through the comments, because time is not on our end. I've actually extended the show. And I see Kid, you're saying because we worship them, Katie. Yes, very true. And this is why we can watch our African people suffering, but not the Mzungu. Jiba Jaba, you're saying you have a strong insight, Katie. Thank you very much. Danny Harrison, you're saying not a good look. Self-hate is a sign of weak people, and that's why we get taken advantage of. Very true. And Kid, you're saying it is called the white Jesus, Katie. That is why. Oh my God. Jiba Jaba, you're saying the oil producers should from a nation consumption consortium and keep the oil on the continent, and the nations grow together through the buttering chip of oil for other resources. And Kid, you're also saying which are not African people, Katie, in the northern Africa, they are Arabs. Very true, very true. And they're still gonna call you migrants. They are still gonna call you refugees, and you're actually in your own countries, in your own continent, while they are the migrants, they are the refugees. I see Jiba Jaba, you're saying grow together. Yes, so we need to grow together. Kid, you're saying exactly 100%, Katie. Africa has all the fertilizers it needs. You do not need Russia and Ukraine. Very true. Danny Harrison, you're saying it is a damn shame, but what I'm about to say is true. Before black people do anything major, such a trade agreement, they will always consider how white people will feel about it. Very true. We even don't care about how our own people will feel about it. We always consider, what will the Europeans say? What will the Germans say? What will the British say? Kid, I see you're saying, Katie, they are making African countries trade with them. They want to make sure that you don't trade with other African countries. Very true. Very true. Danny Harrison, you're saying we have to get rid of that little white supremacists out of the heads before we can progress anything anywhere. Very true, Danny Harrison, and I totally agree with you all. But family, we are coming to the end of our show for today. Asanteni sana for joining me on today's episode. Thank you for keeping it interactive. Danny Harrison, Kid, Mr. Jiba Jaba, I saw was it Kay Williams? I saw Ansan Kenwan in the building. I saw David Ton in the building, and to the rest of the silent listeners, asanteni sana for being with us on today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed the show. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation. But if you're there, please make sure you teach these African morons to wake up, because where we're heading is not laughable for us. It is not laughable. It is not a situation that we're gonna be laughing about. This time, we might be laughing right now, but in the next maybe 2 years, 3 years, we might not be laughing about the situation we're gonna be at. But I see Jiba Jaba saying, shh, don't make Masa mad. I see also Jiba Jaba, you're saying, bye, Sister Katie, good program. Thank you, Jiba Jaba. And to the rest of the silent listeners, asanteni sana for being with me on today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation, and also thank you for keeping it interactive. Kindly do not leave without smashing the like button, and also you can as well share the content, because at the end of the day, we need to share the content for African people to be awake. We need to start waking our own people up. We need to tell them it is not time to sleep anymore. It is time to wake up. But Kwaherini, hope to see you later, maybe on the word of the street, and also hope you get to enjoy the rest part of the day. Kwaherini, cheers. I will miss you. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Greetings and salutations, Master D's and Robinson, all the way to Switzerland. And you're tuning into the Black Hot Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with Kaji. Massive. Stay tuned. Watoto waki Afrika, hakika
Umbika.
watoto waki Afrika.
God blessing.
Look at you, you're super cool.